live. Good morning. I am joined by the lovely Coach Sharon. Yeah. Excited to talk to you today. Today, we want to talk to the people that have no time. We want to talk to the nurses and healthcare workers that are out there because I know you're there. You've got families. You've got crazy schedules. You're working 12-hour days sometimes. You might be work from home. You might not be. And it can be heavy. There's a lot of responsibilities you have. And what we want to do, Sharon's going to share a little bit of something that's happening right now with one of her existing clients, how she's navigating this, still making it happen, and is about 20 pounds down in 2 months, which is fantastic. Because we didn't get her permission, we're not going to say her name. For now, we're going to call her rock star, as Sharon would say. Sharon, can you try talking real quick? I just want to make sure the audio works.
Yeah, she
Okay.
is a rock star. That's not her real name, but she is a rock star.
It's so funny. All right, I'll let you take it. Give us some backstory first of all.
Yeah.
What's her schedule like? What's going on? What's her day to day? Give us some backstory.
So, my client, she's in her mid 30s, a woman in her mid 30s. She works from home a lot of hours, but she does work from home. So she has a flexible schedule, but she's also taking care of her kids. She is married. Her husband works out of the home. She's taking care of the house. Not that he doesn't help, but she's there all the time. So I'm not saying he's an absentee husband or father or
I know
anything.
we're gonna start some bar focus.
Yeah, I'm not saying that at all. And she has a 3-year-old son, and her daughter just turns about 7 months, 6 or 7 months old. She came to us a couple months ago, middle of May. So she and I have been working together for about 2 months. Her initial goal, and I say initial because we just had a conversation yesterday where we're going to start changing her goal because she's so close. Her initial goal was to lose, actually, it was 34 pounds. She had a set weight in mind. And so it's about 35 pounds, but I take notes during all our calls and I wrote down, okay, 34 pounds. She also wanted to see some muscle definition in her arms and her abs specifically. She wanted it in her legs also, but from a priority standpoint, she was looking at arms and abs.
Gotta have it.
She wanted to improve her eating habits. She wanted to improve her overall health. Pretty typical goals of the clients that we receive in this program.
Mhm.
Her energy was okay, like on a scale of 1 to 10, it was a 5, and we want much higher than that, so it was okay. She wasn't sleeping, as you can imagine. She's not sleeping on average a whole lot a night. Her water, though, she is a rock star in the water. I was joking with her, and I have a few clients like this. I ask, do you know how much water you drink every day? Because water is important. Food, water, fitness, mindset, sleep, all these things, all these components of a healthy lifestyle. She told me how much water she was drinking a day, and I said, we may never talk about water again. And I only have 2 or 3 clients that I think that I've ever said that to. So I was like, wow, like you just saved me so much time over the next few months. This is great.
That's awesome.
She was following an exercise program that was, okay. And she was comfortable with it. So that was important to me as we start to change different things or address different components of a healthy lifestyle. We don't want to change everything at once because in my opinion, we're setting you up to fail, right? We want you to learn one thing or start to learn one thing and start to feel comfortable. And then we may look at something else. And then we may double back to the first, or we may keep going to the third. It all depends. We go at your pace. So it all depends on how you're doing. So anyway, she was exercising. Her stress was about a 5, which on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being you want to put your head through a wall all the time.
I would have thought it
So
would
5 is pretty good,
with everything,
especially with everything going on.
Yeah. So she managed it well. That's good.
Yeah, she was. We still wanted a little lower if we can, but
Yeah.
5 is pretty good. Like, hey,
for
this
everything
is
happening.
good.
Yeah.
And her biggest stressor was a lack of sleep, which makes sense, right? If you're not getting a lot of sleep, it's stressful and you're cranky and whatever comes, you're hangry.
Yep.
So anyway, we started working together. I put together a nutrition plan for her, parameters. Here are your target starting calories. Here are your target starting macronutrients. Let's get you to hit these and see how it goes over the next few weeks. Because we need time to, number one, for you to get used to it. Number two, to see how your body responds, and then we can start to make changes. So a couple weeks into it, she said, "Hey, I forgot to tell you, I'm breastfeeding." It's like,
Oh.
good to know. We need to add calories back into your diet.
Yeah.
So we increase the calories by a lot. And fast forward to now, or actually yesterday, about 2 months in, she's lost 29 pounds. Okay.
Wow.
And yesterday, while we were talking, there were kind of three things that stood out in my mind. One is we actually added calories back in, even though she's still losing.
Yeah.
I said, "Hey, she was saying, what about this?" and asking about that. I said, "You know what? Let's add a little more calories back in." So she's going to add a little more calories back in for the next couple of weeks. We'll see how it goes. She's still losing. And we started talking about how she feels now and where she wants to go.
Mm.
She gave me an example of nutrition that I loved. She said that there was a festival, a fair over the weekend, and she knew her and her family were going to go to it, and she wanted to go and have a good time. So she ate her planned meal. She planned all this out, like she planned to do this, which is what we want. That's how our program becomes a sustainable lifestyle and not a diet. When I say the word diet, I'm talking about the food and drink that you're bringing into your mouth. I'm not saying that you're following a diet. A diet inherently has an end date, and we don't do end dates, right? This is just it's a lifestyle change.
Yeah.
So anyway, she said that she planned her dinner, ate it at home, and then when she went to the fair, she had an ice cream. And she said, "I had an ice cream." I asked how it was. She's like, "It was really good." And there wasn't any guilt. She wasn't off plan. I mean, that's what we want. Like I was like, boom, bullseye right there.
Yeah.
So from a nutrition standpoint, that's great.
Perfect.
From a fitness standpoint, I was asking her, "Hey, how's your fitness going?" We talk about this every call. And she said, what's great for her is that the program she's on for fitness, it's a 30-minute workout. That's all she has time for. It's like, I don't have time to be in the gym for hours and hours a day.
Right. Does she work
And
out
she
at
hits it hard, 30 minutes, boom. Then she goes back to doing everything else that she's doing. So she's this close to reaching her goal. And we started talking about, she brought it up to me. "Hey, when I reach my goal, what if I want to start building more muscle? What if I want this? What if I want that?" So we started talking about what could happen. Now, we're not going to implement it yet because I want her to think about it too. Because when she does reach her goal, she may decide she wants to lose 5 pounds more to see how she feels and how she looks.
Yes.
If she wants to do that, then we'll stay there. If she wants to start to try to build muscle, then we'll do that.
Yes.
So she's driving this, but she's seeing great results.
That's awesome. So obviously she doesn't have a lot of time, as we described before. Is she working out at home?
She is working out at home.
Got it.
It fits best in her schedule. Not that she wouldn't want probably to go to a gym, but when we first started talking, I asked her, I ask a number of questions of every new client, and one of them is, are you currently following a consistent exercise program?
Consistent being the key word.
It is, right? And I probably, when I ask that question, I pause, that dramatic pause after I say consistent exercise program. And she said, "Yeah, I'm doing this app at home."
Oh,
So
nice.
do you like it? What are you doing? And we talked through it some, and it fits with her schedule. Great.
Perfect.
Then we're going to build on that. That's fine.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, if anyone is out there, if anyone can hear us in this vacuum of space, if there's anyone out there that is doing something consistently, consistency trumps optimization. A lot of times you want to make things perfect. Perfect isn't always sustainable. So start with sustainability, and just like what Coach Sharon said, build. So it's like, cool, you're doing this thing, you're already doing it. Cool, hands off. Let's just build upon it. That could be even something simple like, hey, yeah, I go on a walk during lunch for 15 minutes. Cool. Maybe we build upon that first, not by walking necessarily more, by adding something else in. Whatever habits you already have that are positive, that are existing, we want to try to almost like link new habits to the ones that are already there. It's hard to create a habit out of nowhere, out of thin air. It's easier to latch habits to existing ones. And they don't even have to be attached to existing fitness habits. They can just be attached to other habits, but can help if they're,
Right.
the same category.
Yeah. Yeah, consistency really is key. There's a quote, I can't remember which coach said it. I mean, like a professional NFL coach, not
Ah,
a personal trainer or nutrition coach like me.
yeah.
I'm blanking, but it was a guy. He said, motivation gets you started, habit keeps you going.
100%.
And that's true for fitness or nutrition or anything in your life.
Yeah.
And coupling like a new habit, a new behavior with an existing positive behavior is easy, like Coach Ryan said. For instance, I have some clients, not this rock star, other rock stars, and they're consistently following an exercise program. Right? We're working together and doing that. And some of them have more time to exercise than others, and some of them are at a different fitness level that, while their intensity is the same, the actual moves that they're doing are more advanced, just because that's where they are, in their fitness journey. But for a few rock stars, I said, okay, here's what I want you to do. When you're out walking, sometimes it's at lunch or right after work, whenever they walk. I don't care when, as long as they get it done.
Right.
I said, I want you to add 50 squats, body weight squats. I don't care if you do them 5 at a time, you do them 10 at a time, you do all 50 in a row. I don't care how you do them, but you have to do it 3 times a week, because they were walking 3 times a week.
Yes.
And every one of them hit it. Every person hit it. And they're like, that was kind of fun. My legs hurt and I hate you, but that was kind of fun. What else can I do? I'm like, oh, great. Let me rub my hands together and you will laugh, right? And it's just coupling those things together.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be this big crazy thing, right? I think it's like the chart or the image, I guess we could call it. Let me pull this up really quick. The chart or the image that always absolutely just like reinforces this for me is this one from Atomic Habits, The Power of Tiny Gains. I'll share this on the screen so everyone can see it.
Yeah.
Let me just make it bigger, smaller. All right, here we go. So you guys should be able to see that here. So we see the math of it, and it's okay. Power of tiny gains, 1% better every day, 37 times better in a year. 1% worse every day is, essentially becomes little to nothing. And we can see this chart, and it's just so powerful. Like 1% gains. We don't need to have a 5x gain or a 2x gain this month or this week or today. We don't have to take you from where you are right now in your exercise journey, which might be nothing, or it might just be, walking 15 minutes a day at lunch or when you get home from work or after dinner or whatever it is. We don't have to make that 30 immediately. It can literally be something that today, won't make that big of an effect, or this week won't make that big of an effect. By doing, as Coach Sharon said, it's like, we're going to do 10 lunges during that walk.
Yep.
Okay, cool, but what else?
Yeah.
10 lunges. Okay, cool, yeah, but that's great, but then what? It's like 10 lunges. Just do your 10 lunges. And it's like, imagine if, just for a second, we did those 10 lunges, week 1, and you were like, ooh, that felt good. Okay, cool, what else can I do? Week 2, we did 10 lunges and 10 squats. And you're like, oh, this is still too easy. Can't believe it. Oh my God, but I feel good doing it. I'm feeling empowered. And then week 3, all you did was move to 15 squats. Or, maybe this would be a little too fast, but like you add a little hop out of the bottom. Probably don't want to add that dynamic, for a lot of people too soon. But in a year's time, you can just imagine how you have a fully fledged workout that doesn't even feel like it takes any willpower at all. because you increased it in such an amount of time where there's no we'll call it, it's not a learning curve, but there's no pain curve to bring
Right.
you to like what's the word, to make it feel like you're not just living your life. It's kind of like I'm trying to think of another example. This is probably going to be a bad example, but Sharon, I think you've heard this. I'm sure you've heard this before. It's like the frog that jumps into a pot of boiling water and jumps right out versus
Yes.
getting boiled alive. It's like we actually want to be the boiled alive one in this case. Because if you just are living your life and you're sitting in a pot of water that is room temperature, you're like, all right, cool. And if you slowly turn up the heat, you actually don't experience a lot of pain because you don't really see you don't feel the change in the temperature. You're kind of just like, all right, cool, this is fine. But eventually, you get to a point that you are just living your life with something, a totally different environment. In this case, a very hot environment. Now, the frog dies. We don't want to die, but it's just to give you, hopefully, you can get the comparison up to that. Whereas, if you are just living your life on the outside and we say, okay, it's time to start working out 5 days a week, and like we're going to start doing this sauna protocol, we're going to start like, red light therapy, and we're going to start, doing all this stuff. You jump in the water, you might be able to hang in there for a second or two, but then you're jumping right back out and you're going back to whatever you were doing. And some people have more resolve or whatever you want to call it, where they can last longer. But the point is, it's like a rubber band. The further you pull, it's just going to snap back. And that's where we have these crazy, like, I'll say, we're all in, all out. Where instead, we just have to almost like pull the rubber band just enough where it gives us enough time to then come back to it, pull it again. And that's how you get to your final goal. And then that's just like you've heard, I'm sure everyone's heard me say in the past, that's how you get to a point that you don't even realize you hit your final goal. Like you just so happen to go to a doctor's appointment and like they're like, all right, time to hop on the scale. You hop on the scale and they say back the weight and they're like, oh, 139. And you're like, what? What is it? And you do it again. And then because it wasn't about the weight anymore.
Right.
It's just about your actions. It's just about living your life. Just keep doing your thing. And it just happens. And that's kind of the shift of focus that I believe happens to every person that really has this profound breakthrough.
Yeah, you have to trust the process. Whether it's weight loss or muscle build, everyone plateaus. That's just a science thing. Like you're going to plateau.
Of course.
And the people who are successful, they may get frustrated like everyone does, but they trust the process and they acknowledge that they just have to keep doing the behaviors
Yes.
that they've learned the entire time up to that plateau, and they'll break through. Don't start trying to be tricky or sneaky. Just keep doing it. And while that's happening, you will further ingrain the habit into your lifestyle. And then one day you're just going to break through and you'll be at whatever weight or muscle or whatever your goal is. It's just trusting the process. And that's hard,
Very.
but that's how you become successful.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was trying to bring up a photo, but I can't seem to find it in Google Images, so I'll just talk about it. And then whatever we do, like whatever those actions are that we need to trust the process with, doing our best to make them low pain, high
Yeah.
pleasure. Pleasure doesn't necessarily, you get pleasure a lot of different ways as a human, right? Sometimes it's easy to think that, okay, well, low pain, okay, I get it. Don't do things that I don't enjoy. But I don't love working out. Well, the pleasure doesn't necessarily have to come from the activity itself. It just has to be from the activity. What do I mean? Have you ever heard somebody say, well, I know obviously Coach Sharon has, but somebody out there, right? You've probably heard somebody say in the past, like, I feel a lot better after I exercise. It's like, cool, that's pleasure. Another way you can get pleasure is from somebody else telling you you're great, right? Like working out with somebody and you guys being in there together, having connection. Maybe from your coach giving you a thumbs up, or giving you a gold star, being like, hey, you completed your workout today. External validation, as well as internal validation in the first example. But there's a lot of different ways you can get pleasure from activities. If you can just stack low pain, high pleasure, results-based actions, you win this game. And that's really where we help you as coaches. We just compress decades into days. It's like, do you want to do this and potentially, like everyone can do this. It's not, there are no special people. Everyone can do it. The question is just like, do you want it to take 5 years or do you want it to take 5 months? And if you want it to take 5 months, because, Coach Sharon has seen so many of these no two stories are exactly the same, but a lot of stories rhyme. So you can see like, oh, hey, like, yes, this person's a mother. They're 30, mid 30s. They have, a couple kids, crazy work stress, energy's here, self-esteem's here. Like you can see, oh man, this actually looks a lot similar to this 2 years ago, or not even 2 years ago, but 8 months ago with this other client. Well, I know exactly what this person needs to do in order to get there. And hey, I'll probably get this person there faster than I got that person, right? Depending on the situation. So it's like being able to leverage expertise of someone like Coach Sharon or any of our coaches. It just helps compress these decades into days and makes it faster, which is nice.
It does. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, which is nice. That's it.
No, I was going to say that a lot of what not a lot, a definite portion of what I do is like dispelling myths that people think are true because they heard it on the radio or an influencer or whoever. I don't even know where they get this stuff from, right?
Sure.
And a lot of that is self-limiting, or actually it's worse than self-limiting. It's sending them in the wrong direction. You're like, well, this is how I eat. Well, why do you do that? Like, help me understand. Well, because my sister's brother-in-law's son had success eating this way. And so I thought I'd try it. Like, okay, tell me more about it. And they've spent months and months doing this, or hopping from one to the next, all these different diets as opposed to a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And they've wasted so much time and energy, like emotional energy and physical energy, trying to follow this nutrition program or fitness or whatever it is. And then they start working with us. And I ask a lot of questions. So I ask, well, why are you not judging, but why are you doing that? And I get an answer like that. And when they say it out loud, you kind of see like the cogs moving, like, that sounds dumb. And I'm thinking, you just spent all these months doing that. You must be really frustrated. There's a better way, and it's not as difficult. And so I spent a lot of time helping people understand, not in a finger wagging way, but hey, you just spent all this time and all this energy and all this money. Maybe they were eating some special food shipped in from somewhere.
Right.
Where if you keep it simpler and make it sustainable, they're going to actually reach their goals and not just feel just depressed.
Right. I feel like a lot of times it's easy to believe that the problem is us. It's like something out of our control. And I think you just mentioned like a lot of what you're doing is dispelling myths. I mean, another word for myth is, beliefs or thoughts. So it's like to be able to help somebody ingrain an empowering belief that is true, you were able to, like we said, compress these decades into days, which is really powerful. If you can just tweak somebody and put them on the right path, I mean, that could definitely save months or years. And then you don't have the frustration that goes along with it.
Yeah, because a lot of people have said, and they've probably said it with other programs, this is the last program this is the last diet I'm going to try, is what they say. And I talk with them often about semantics. If you use the word diet, this is your mindset, right? So if you look at it as a lifestyle, you can have the ice cream or the cake
Right.
or the pizza or the beer or the wine or whatever. And it's okay. I don't want you to necessarily have it every meal, every day, every week. That's probably not so good,
Right.
but eating it isn't an issue.
Yes.
Um, and when they start to look at food that way, um, that's when it clicks. Like when they accept that, it clicks.
Yes. Taking the power back.
Similarly with, yeah, and with fitness, there's a different perspective. Some of it is mindset or perspective.
Mm.
If you are working out, whatever, even if it's walking, like not even going to the gym to do a standard workout would be, like walking, or swimming or whatever it is. If my client is thinking about it, I have to do this tomorrow. Oh, I have to go work out, as opposed to thinking, hey, today I get to work out.
Mm.
Like it almost makes you smile. Not that you necessarily love the workout. Like, hey, I get to do this because it is a privilege. Not everyone, for whatever reason, can exercise. So whether it's walking or doing deadlifts, wherever you are, you get to do that. And it is a privilege. And I think when people start to think of it that way, even if it's once a week, like you get to go do that. So, enjoy it, make the best of the 15 minutes or whatever you're doing.
Yeah. And then I think that if you can really get to a point that you keep adapting and you keep learning, you can get to a point and maybe you leverage the right drugs, meaning caffeine, not the hard stuff. You can really put yourself into a position where the cogwheel is now rotating the other way. For a lot of people, it's like exercise, so much more pain than pleasure. Oh my gosh, I'm never going to be able to get to a point that I feel pulled towards this. And it takes more effort to do the thing than to just sit down and do nothing.
Yeah.
Which is the majority for a lot of people. But then you get to a point that, I don't want to speak for Coach Sharon, so I'll speak for myself. Just this week was a great example. I screwed up again. I'm supposed to only work out weight training, and then I do some other stuff, but Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. That's all I'm supposed to do. Well, yesterday comes rolling around. I wake up, I'm like, I feel so good. I think I'm just going to get another one in. I'm not supposed to do that, but I did. And I was tired after, right? Because I'm not supposed to work out heavy 3 days in a row. And I was like, and it wore me down a little bit. But because I have so much pleasure associated with exercise, and we can go through why another time, but like it achieves 4 out of 6 of my human needs. I take caffeine, so like there's an actual physical like dopamine release from taking more caffeine, which my brain doesn't know it necessarily isn't coming from exercise, because I always take the caffeine then exercise. I don't take caffeine under any other circumstance. So
Right.
like I've set up systems to be really pulled towards it to the point that it's hard for me to not do it. Because just like how people are like, I don't think about eating sugar, my body's just pulled towards it. Like I look for it. I'm the same way with exercise. So it's like, man, imagine if you had that problem. It's like, yes, give me that problem, please. That's what we're trying to do. Not to the point that it actually hinders your life and is an addiction. Like we don't want to do that, but how can we switch the cogwheel and make it something that you're like what you said? Oh man, what a privilege! Like, ooh man, only another hour, and then I get to like put on my gym clothes, and I get to like, oh yeah, like get out of the scrubs, put on the gym clothes, go like have my me time, listen to the top 80s hits that I grew up with, and like, oh yeah, I'm just fist pumping in my garage, like, whatever, like anything we can do to make it as much of a pleasurable experience as you can will flip the cogwheel. And then you don't, like, that's how you get to the point that you don't need to rely on willpower. Like, I believe discipline's a lie, and that you are just pulled towards these things. That's what we want you to be.
Yeah. Yes. Exclamation point.
Love it. All right, we've already been talking for a long time, so we'll end it here. Coach Sharon, it's been a pleasure. I did a really poor job of looking at comments during this. I don't know if a lot came in, but if anyone's came in, sorry. But if you're watching this live on recording, and you want more people to see it, or you want to see more of these in the future, just like this video, you can comment below if you have any questions for Coach Sharon. She always comes back on these videos and answers them. And just know that, one of the things we talked about right in the middle was the beliefs. Like, your beliefs will dictate what action you take. And if you have a fundamental belief that your body is different, or because you have no time, it's not possible for you, or I'll do this when, right? Which is that's a dagger. Because what if when never comes? Man, I'll just share really quick, and this is a really personal thing. But like, when I was in my, I think it was like maybe like a year ago, and my son, it was 2 years ago, my son was being born. I was talking to a friend of mine, and I said, hey, when I hit this financial goal, I'm gonna like back off and like be able to like put my family, like really just focus on my son. And he said to me, cool, what if that never happens? And I said, what do you mean? And my defenses went up, and I'm like, don't be negative, I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, like, is there like a 1% chance you never hit that financial goal? And I'm like, well, sure. And he's like, isn't that too big of a price to pay? The chance that you won't be able to be the father you want to be for your kids, husband for your wife. And I was like, shit. And he goes, don't play that game. He goes, be who you want to be now. And if that other thing happens, fine. But you have to figure this out now. And I feel like that's the same situation that a lot of us are in with our fitness. Is like, okay, yeah, but I'll just do it when X. What if X never comes? And then you are in your 50s, 60s, or 70s, and now you're royally screwed. Like, let's not let that happen. You are too important. This is too important to put off.
Yeah.
It's crucial. So go be the most fit person you can be. Go be the happiest person, the best version of yourself. We're here to support you. We'll see you guys soon. Bye.